Grab your favorite cup, roll a blunt, slide into a nice warm tub, whatever you need to do to get ready for the new tea.
Our goal is to uplift, upgrade, and update you on what is happening in the world from a culturally conscious gaze.
Of course, we'll throw in some off-color topics to make our subjects more palpable.
Welcome to Urban Proper.
Hey, yo.
Hey.
Hey.
Wait, are we still done checking?
No. It's the real deal this time.
Hey, it be we.
It be us.
And we be Urban Proper.
Urban as fuck.
It is I, Shisha, self-proclaimed queen of everything the light touches.
And it be me, Darius, the destroyer, self-proclaimed destroyer of all things, including but not limited to booty holes. You know.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month, y'all. Target has a great Black History Month collection right now.
Really?
I am currently wearing a hoodie that says "I am Black History."
Okay, Target, capitalize it.
Hold on, wait a minute. My shirt says "Earth ain't black."
I'm gonna have to give me one of them. Earth ain't black.
They have a lot of really cute stuff. Not to promote, white business, but they have a lot of really cute Black history stuff.
Oh,
and I believe a lot of it, like a lot of the proceeds are going to Black History foundations and shit like that.
It better be. It better be.
But the stuff is VQ if you want some Black history shit.
Hell yeah. I have to go mosey on the Torres Jane.
Yes, yes.
What's poppin'?
I was in Chicago and I spent way too much money at Torres Jane.
Of course, Chicago.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. Bitch, you go to Target once a fucking year. That's it.
We went to Target 3 times in a day.
Why?
Paris had a lot of stuff she left.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a lot of sense.
And a blizzard, bitch.
In the blizzard?
In the middle of a pandemonium and a blizzard.
No.
We were gagged. Fully gagged. Anyway.
What we talking about today, Darius?
We're talking about Black History Month.
Hell yeah.
We are going to give y'all the history of Black History Month.
Yeah. See, I always thought they were trying to be funny and put Black History Month in February because it's the shortest month, but we got some tea for y'all.
Yeah, I really truly thought that was the reason as well. But the actual fact of the matter is...
And my cat strike again.
It's always a journey. So you should wait until we're like an hour in.
Yeah, it was like, now this shit pop right out.
Right, let's get this over with. I forgot what the fuck I had already said.
Black History Month, the
right.
tea.
We're talking about Black History Month, and like Shisha said, I too, like many African American folks in the world, thought that Black History Month was in February because it was the shortest month, and white people were like, "That's all you get.
That's all you get.
You get 28 days,
maybe 29,
maybe 29 on a leap year. Figure it the fuck out, bitch." But actually, 50 years after slavery was abolished in September of 1915, Carter G. Woodson and Jesse E. Moorland and a bunch of other people established the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, ASNLH, which is now known as the Association for the Study of African American Life, because the word Negro is terrible.
Yeah.
It only should be used in Spanish, negro, to mean black, which kind of sucks, but still.
The color black.
The color black. And this organization was dedicated to celebrating the achievements and the life of Black American people. And then shortly following that, hold on, I lost my train of thought in my notes. Hold, please. Okay, in 1926, the ASALH sponsored the National Negro History Week, and this is something that I knew. I knew it started off as a week. I didn't know it just started off as an organization. I did not know that, but I did know that it started off as Negro History Week. And I was like, cute, whatever. In my research, I found out that it was a week, and it was the second week of February, because both Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln were born the second week of February. Frederick Douglass born on Valentine's Day, and Abe Lincoln born on February 12th. So that is why we have Negro History Week, the second week of February. That's why it's in February. That's why Black people celebrate in February, because, I mean, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, quote unquote. That's neither here nor there. It's up for debate, to be completely honest.
He was a terrible person.
He was a horrible person still. But Frederick Douglass
Also was a terrible person.
And you know, I did so many research projects about that man.
Yeah.
So many. I was obsessed with him. He was also kind of fine.
He was fine. He was an ain't shit motherfucker. he just really, for some reason, thought that having a white wife put him in a different social hierarchy.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, at the time, it did.
It did. But also put a target on your back. But
yeah.
No, he really, like, the woman that had his back, that helped pay for his freedom, he just threw her to the side once, you know, he got his accolades and his popularity, got what he wanted from her, and just moved the fuck on. Which is terrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we celebrate these two men, but in all actuality, we should just, you know,
do our research.
I just want to take a little side note before I get to a couple more facts that I found here. That we never were taught this in school.
Mm-mm.
I don't ever remember a time during Black History Month where they were like, let's dive into the history of Black History Month.
It's so many things.
Like you said in the previous episode, the fact that cultural studies, and I'm going to I'm going to put all cultures in there, like Latin culture, Native culture, African American culture, you know, all these other cultures are superlatives. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? Not superlatives, but why?
Extracurricular.
There you go, extracurricular classes that aren't required. You're not required to learn about African American history. You're not required to learn about the history of, you know, Latin Americans, of Mexico, and how most of America was Mexico at one point.
Like the whole Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California, at one point, probably a little bit more states, was Mexico. So, like, you tell these people to go back to where they came from, but, like, they're already where they came from, so... Yeah, and the fact the whole cowboy culture was copied from Mexicans.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of the Western settlement was due to credit of Black cowboys. A lot of Black people, when they ran away, they were welcomed in some native tribes. They fled to Mexico, so they learned a lot of the culture there. But a lot of the settlement of the western part of America is because of Black cowboys, and
you know. It's always astounding to me that that we have to do so much research to figure out how many things that as Black people we have culturally started. Like, everything has come from Black people. Music, cowboys.
Almost everything you love about America is because Black people invented it, or Black people made your life easier. And it's just like, why don't we get the credit that's due? Why are we an asterisk?
Why is this a half credit class instead of a full credit?
Thank you. That's my whole point.
Wait a minute. We got to put that on the shirt. Why is this a half credit class?
Why is this a half credit class?
Cause.
And like during this month, like I really took a deep dive, tried to learn non-mainstream facts about Black history, and I tell you, when I'm exhausted, because it's so much, and not exhausted by the fact, the history facts. I'm just exhausted by just the terrible things that our ancestors, not even our ancestors, our family members
went
through. Because a lot of people are still alive today, and there's the fact that it was like it really wasn't passed down. And I get that, you know, horrible experiences people don't really want to talk about, but I think that's why we keep repeating the same things over and over and over and over again, because we're not able to learn, we're not able to prepare for these things. Like we talked about in the previous episode, the whole probably main reason why a lot of black people don't know how to swim, are scared of water, quote unquote, is because of how they were treated when they were in public swimming pools.
Yep.
You know, chemicals and bleach were thrown on them when they were trying to swim, or I forget what main prominent black star in the 60s put her foot in the pool.
Dorothy Dandridge. Yes,
Dorothy Dandridge, thank you. She put her foot in the pool, and white people were so disgusted by it, they made them drain the pool and refill it. And it's just things like that. There really, if it doesn't shine light on just how deeply rooted hate for black people is, and just how historically white people have gone out of their way to just destroy black neighborhoods, destroy black organizations, like the Black Panther movement, that was actually geared towards
healing black communities.
Yes, learning about gun laws, exercising their right to carry arms. They also implemented free breakfast for students. They actually are the creators of the WIC program that a lot of women, white women statistically, benefit more from the WIC program and from food stamps than their counterparts.
And you know, it's hard to cut you off, but it's when it comes to stuff like government assistance, and people always trying to be like, sorry, let me rephrase. White people are always trying to say that black people are sucking up on the government, and my tax dollars are paying for your food stamps and blah, blah, blah. Okay, first of all, white women are still statistically, since you want to make everybody a statistic.
Since you want to talk about numbers.
Statistically, Caucasian women are more, not more likely, but are a larger percentage of people receiving government assistance in the United States of America. In all 50 states, girl. All 50 of them.
All 50.
All
50.
All 50. About tree 50. And like, this is a program, like you said, that was created by the Black Panthers that white people benefit from, but will not give credit to the originators.
Yeah. And it's like every time black people came together and created a community, white people saw it as a threat. And they moved swiftly and very disgustingly, for lack of a better word, to disable it.
Like Black Wall Street.
Like Black Wall Street.
Completely destroyed.
Yeah, and while we're talking about neighborhoods, I recently learned that in St. Paul, Minnesota, there was the Rondo neighborhood. It was one of the most prosperous African American communities. Started like in the 1930s. And at that time, St. Paul's black population in Rondo was about 85% of the population.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, you know, when black people come together and they rise up and they're being financially independent, a lot of their money is staying in the neighborhoods. You know, white people don't like that. So they came around. Was like, how can we fuck this up? How can we disable this community? The construction of I-94, and you know, the whole eminent domain, loophole. They were able to displace that neighborhood and that community
with a highway.
Just create a highway that was straight through the middle of that community, and it's just.
It really just, people really truly just tear black people's lives apart.
It's like they're terrified of us because together we are unstoppable. And it's just put fear in the generations that came after so much that we don't really see, we don't have a Malcolm X of this generation. We don't have a Black Panther movement of this generation. We don't have a Martin Luther King, because people, every time somebody rose up to be the leader, to try to bring us together, even though Malcolm X was so radical in the beginning when he had his pilgrimage to Mecca, he realized that, it's going to be a together thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as, he started preaching that, Fruit of Islam didn't like that. And so the FBI was able to infiltrate them and get somebody to assassinate him. It's like every time somebody pokes their head up to be the face of Black togetherness, a Black community, their head is chopped off.
Yeah, there's so many, like you have the Black Lives Matter movement, you have all of these things like Color of Change, all these different organizations where there are people running them, obviously, but those people are not necessarily well known. They're like not anonymous, but they kind of run from the shadows. They run from sitting. I don't want to say sitting high and looking low because that's not the terminology I want to use. But they watch everything.
Yeah.
Just like Big Brother is watching everything, listening to you through your phone. Which is why there's no chip in the vaccine. There's no chip. I just need to say that.
You carry around y'all chip. Y'all carry it around.
You've been chipped since when were cell phones invented by a Black man? Let me see. Hold on.
And while he's looking that up,
and throwing his brand new phone on the floor.
Throwing his brand new phone on the floor.
It's not an iPhone, so it won't crack.
First of all, let's see. I've had my iPhone for how many years in 8th grade?
And it's been in the Otterbox for how many of those years?
And it's been in the Otterbox when I first got it.
Listen, that's the only rivalry we will have in this house is Team Android versus Team iPhone.
Yes, and I'm going to stay Team Apple. Like, I almost got Apple everything, but anyway, that's not what we're talking about. And I just lost my whole train of thought.
My bad.
You are good. But I guess is like kind of backtrack and just talk about what I was talking about. As far as just the dismemberment of Black communities. You have Greenwood, you have Rosewood, and there's so many things that we weren't taught in school. And I'm going to post some of these throughout the month and just continuously, because Black history is not something that just needs to be learned in the month of February.
Black history is an all year thing.
Yes, and Black history doesn't start with slavery. We were people before slavery. We have Mansa Musa, you have Hannibal of Carthage.
I was watching a show. Oh, made me so mad. I was watching shows like Ancient Countdown or some shit like that.
Yeah.
They were like counting down the top 10 multiple things of ancient history.
Yeah.
And one of the countdowns was top 10 dictators in ancient history.
Yeah.
Hannibal of Carthage obviously was on this list.
Yeah.
They had a white man playing him, and I was so angry. I was so mad.
No.
Like, that is a Black man.
That's a Black man. Carthage is in northern Africa. Was in northern Africa. And they were forever at war with the Romans, the Greeks. And yeah.
And I think you were telling me something earlier about how slavery wasn't a sin in Christianity until slavery wasn't a sin in Christianity. Suicide wasn't a sin in Christianity until slavery. And that literally thinking about this just made me think about the fact that so many Roman generals, higher up people, committed suicide when they were at the end of their rope.
Yeah.
And it was just like the thing to do.
It was really the thing to do. It was like, I'd rather take my life.
Even in ancient, like, feudal Japan and, like, Asian cultures, there's a thing called Harakiri or seppuku, where a warrior would commit suicide and would literally slice their stomachs open so that they didn't get killed by the enemy because it was an honorable way to die. Yeah. Not saying that, suicide is an honorable thing, and, like, I understand that everybody has their struggles. That's a sore topic for me, but...
Right.
Yeah,
it was. I was reading some history facts, and I kind of went and double checked and kind of cross checked and tried to fact check, make sure it was correct. But it wasn't introduced until I forget the year, but it was really after there was a high volume of slaves jumping out of the boats, committing suicide. So it really struck fear in them that they would make it to see God, that it was a sin to commit suicide, and a lot of things. Were implemented in Christianity during the time of slavery. They used Christianity as a tactic to control the African people.
And it's so nuts to me because African people didn't even practice Christianity. They didn't.
Yeah, it's like you're taking this group of people, you're telling them that their life is wrong, the way of living is wrong, that they're cursed people, that they their only value is to serve their white counterparts. It really can break the strongest person down if you're constantly hearing this, if you're constantly seeing the conditions of slavery over and over again. It will break the strongest person. And just reading that black men were raped just as much as enslaved black women during the time, but it wasn't highly documented because, you can't have kids from,
right.
cowboy butt sex. But I mean, not to make it, not to say that, being raped is a joke, but I think that's why in the black community there's like
such a stigma.
Yeah, such a stigma, and I think it's like even more so with black men against homosexuality because of that, and it's something that really wasn't talked about either. And I think it comes with a sense of shame. I get it, but like I said, we keep continuing these cycles because we're not correctly learning about our past. And if we don't correctly know about our past, we can't avoid situations in our future.
Yep. 100% facts.
Yeah.
100% facts.
And what were you looking up?
I was looking up when cell phones were invented, and apparently they were invented in 1973. I cannot talk today, y'all. I have not had any coffee.
Oh no!
I have had no caffeine in my system. It is I am on the struggle. I'm driving the struggle bus, and everybody is in danger. I saw on TikTok. There's a sound going around on TikTok that was like, "God chose to wake me up again today, and I'm gonna make it everybody's problem."
That's hilarious. I'm about to use that.
That's how I feel right now. I'm gonna make it everybody's problem.
You get some problems, and you get some problems.
Everybody gets a problem. But they were invented in 1973. This says by a white man, but I believe that is incorrect.
I believe there was different versions.
The Motorola cell phone was invented by a man named Martin Cooper.
Yeah.
40 years ago. No, wait. When is this article written? Oh, girl, this is written in 2013. What kind of math is that? 48 years ago or something like that? Almost 50 years ago.
Since I graduated high school and I realized that certain math I didn't have to use, that shit just went away.
Listen.
My brain was like, I need room for how to pay bills and how to get a great credit score. All that stupid shit can go. Like,
I was like, I need room for song lyrics.
That too.
That's it. That's all that's up here is song lyrics.
ADD moment, real quick. It amazes me that I can go years without hearing the song. And I hear that shit, and I know that shit word for word.
Word for word.
Word for word. And I'd be like, how the fuck do I remember these words? Oh, this is my shit. Oh, damn. But it amazes me how the mind works. That's just a little ADD moment.
It's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. But I did see something else. This is not on TikTok. This was on the Book of Faces. That was like
that sounds like some Game of Thrones shit. Book of Faces.
Your name goes down in the Book of Faces. Or it's just a book with people's faces cut off and glued to the page.
That would make sense. That would make sense. There is a faceless man in Game of Thrones. You need to watch that. You need to watch that.
I need to watch it. I know.
You would love it. Okay.
I know.
I will not steer you wrong. Okay.
You would not. You have not steered me wrong so far. But there was a thing that was like if somebody came up to you with a gun and told you to recite the quadratic formula or something like that, and I was like, I would be dead. I wouldn't even try. I would be like, just kill me, because
it rings a bell, but nothing comes forward.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Is that the quadrant?
Hold on, let me look. We got Google in front of us, like we can't just look this shit up. I'll be like, one moment,
please. Cause listen.
Oh no, it's X. Oh, I hated this. It's X, and then it's the fraction thing.
Oh no, ma'am.
No, yeah.
No, ma'am. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I would just have to be like, kill me, end me now. Just end me now.
I'd be like, you literally did not say I could not look at my phone.
Like, hold please.
Hold please. Can I phone a friend?
Can I get a 50-50?
Can I get a 50-50?
Oh my God. So
That's fucking hilarious.
what the fuck was I even talking about? Oh yeah, the cell phone. So yeah, 40 years ago, or if not 40 years ago, 50 almost years ago, the cell phone was invented. The giant brick phone.
Giant brick phone. Not the Nokia brick phone, like the one like you couldn't put in your pocket.
Right.
Like if somebody attacked you, you could beat their ass with that shit.
Like you could literally murder a person with this phone. It was that.
It was bigger than the fucking it was worse than the fucking Billy Club. I'm pretty sure somebody got their ass beat by an old school cell phone.
You know somebody. You know this old school cell phone has killed at least 10 people. At a minimum.
And it probably was white on white crime.
Yeah. Well, what about white on white crime? Yeah, that's what happened at the Capitol. White on white crime.
Definitely did. You can't come over no more. My cats act crazy when you come over.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I guess I got that crazy cat energy.
You got that crazy kitty energy. Don't make the kids go crazy.
You know? Help! My pussy is crazy! Did you find any other facts while you were doing your research, Sheesh?
Oh yeah,
while we were discussing Black History Month.
Of facts.
I have one more.
Go ahead.
I have a couple more actually. Just to continue with the foundation of Black History Month. The NAACP was founded on February 12, 1902, in celebration of Lincoln's birthday, and by the late 60s, National Negro History Week. I didn't write that abbreviation down right. Had fully evolved into Black History Month. So by the 60s, we were fully celebrating for all 28/29 days of February Black History Month.
That's amazing. Also random, has nothing to do with civil rights movement, had nothing to do with slavery, but something to do with colonizers.
Okay.
So Ethiopia, shout out to y'all for holding it down because y'all were the only nation not to be colonized by Europeans after the Berlin Conference. I'm sorry for all my Ethiopian, my Eritrean people that listen to this. I'm gonna butcher this man's name.
Oh boy.
Menelik II was the ruler of Ethiopia, and he is known for defeating Italy's army in the Battle of Adwa. Yeah, right. Ethiopia had advanced weapons and outnumbered the Italians 7-1.
Listen.
Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to Africa. Like,
shout out to Africa. Listen. We love y'all.
We love Africa.
I want to come home, but y'all crazy. With all that Civil War fighting, y'all crazy.
Listen, let us know when it's okay.
Yeah.
To come back.
I'm gonna be like, America, what? What other random facts did I have? Of course, we know about the Statue of Liberty, right? It was originally built to celebrate the end of slavery. It was finished in Paris in 1884. The original sketch of the Statue of Liberty had the torch in the right hand and shackles in her left. But we know why it was changed, okay? We know it was a black woman at first. We know why it was changed.
Can you talk about how, like, liberty, truth, I think it's like liberty, truth, and justice are all women. We love to see it. All represented by female entities.
Yeah, let's also talk about the Tina laws. I'm probably saying it wrong. But during the late 18th century, white women began to feel threatened by black women because of our exotic hairstyles.
You still can't wear them.
Still can't wear them. Therefore, these laws were passed. It's made it illegal for black women to wear their hair out in public. So that's why we see in a lot of like historic films and timepieces, black women have their hair tied up because it was literally illegal. And made it illegal, and then turn around and then make it ghetto, like make it not acceptable for black women to wear like hair coverings. Yeah. And like it's what?
Black women can't have shit. Like, you can't wear your hair the way it is, so now you have to cover it.
Now you have to cover it because you attracted my man is intrigued to want to run his fingers through your, through your cornrows and stuff.
Now your hair cover is ghetto, and I need you to straighten your hair and live to my European standards of beauty.
Yeah. So those are my little facts, and I'm gonna be dropping some more. We're gonna drop some more throughout the month and throughout the year. I'm just gonna be something that we just continuously do because there's so many things we don't know, and it's not in the forefront in American history literature because Black history is American history. Mm-hmm. Just like we learned about the motherfucking English people in UK. Why we learning UK shit in America?
I don't give a fuck about King James. I don't give a fuck about what the hell they were doing. What's her name? They got her head cut off.
Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck
because
about that.
Because it was all cousins fucking each other, essentially. Like, all cousins and relatives being, like, shuffled around like a motherfucking pack of Uno cards.
Yeah, that's how the rich stay rich. They keep it in the family.
Yeah, literally. That's why they got that Charles V had that jaw. Is it Hamburg jaw?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Where it, like, jumps
half
out.
the motherfuckers was ugly as shit, okay?
I mean, most of them. And they did all these paintings and then making them seem like they were beautiful, gorgeous, amazing human beings.
But, like, how the paintings are still ugly as shit?
Like, they were all just fucking each other, fucking their whole families, fucking men behind each other's backs.
Yeah. It was just weird. It was a weird time in history.
It really fucking was. They call it the Dark Ages for a reason. So let's shift gears a little from Black History Month to the film Crack.
Yeah. Which is, essentially, it's a part of Black History.
It's a part of Black History Month, but like, oh my gosh.
Where to begin? So my girlfriend had seen this documentary and called me just upset. Like, you need to watch this. And I'm like, look, I don't know if I can take it.
I can't take too much more of this.
I can't take too much more because I was already in the middle of like researching stuff and just, trying to learn about history a little bit further from the Black perspective. And listen, y'all. Like, I already knew that, Ronald Reagan
is the whole cause of the crack.
Yeah. And this is shit that came afterwards because, Coke was a luxury drug in the 80s, 70s, whatever. It was just something that you did. It was a rich man's drug, right? Mm-hmm. As, the late would used to say, crack is whack,
I made too much money. I smoke crack.
Yes.
Show me the receipts. Show me the receipts.
But, essentially, it just goes over the whole history of how crack was introduced to the world. And just really how it obliterated the Black community just worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
A point that really stuck out to me, like I knew Ronald Reagan was funding the Contra and they were, bringing over cocaine to pay for the weapons. And I didn't know that it was illegal. I didn't know that, not the bringing the coke over, but him funding this war was illegal. Like, Congress was like, no, this is not something we're going to do. I knew about the police corruption because, they've been corrupt ever since the days of the mob. Mm-hmm. Sundown towns, all that. That was a surprise. What really hit home for me and what really, I was so fucking angry that I cried is the whole crack baby epidemic. Mm-hmm. The fact that Black women were being stripped from, just dignity in the media, being dragged in the media during the 80s and the 90s. And, watching Don't Be a Menace, While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, and the funny part in the beginning where Vivica Fox is like, now ain't no positive Black women in these movies. And it really was like, damn, it really wasn't.
It really truly was not.
It really wasn't. It was very far and few in between. Like, you had the Felicia Rashad playing Claire Huxtable. You had, Lord forgive me, her Family Matters mama.
Yeah.
You had those, but just like
Aunt Viv.
Aunt Viv, and just mainstreamly though, like black women were crackheads, didn't take care of their babies. But the thing is, somebody wrote a report saying that
was a nurse.
It was a doctor at first.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the nurse really tried to like enforce it.
Right. That's what. Yeah.
They just made it seem, and people believed it because it's like you're seeing stuff on the news. You're seeing stuff printed. You think that this is the truth.
Everybody, not everybody, but most people, especially of that generation, believed everything they saw on the TV.
Yeah.
And they still do to this day.
Yeah.
And keep going. I just...
Well, what really pisses me off is the fact that the whole crack baby epidemic was a lie. Less than 3% of babies that had mothers that were addicted to crack cocaine were born with cocaine in their system. And literally, like, it was like a witch hunt. Specifically targeted at black women. Black women, you know, even though crack came and it riddled the black community, black people were not the only users of crack.
Right. White people were coming from affluent neighborhoods to line up on the streets to buy crack from black people.
Yeah.
This, by the way, this documentary is on Netflix. Again, Netflix. We shout you out, girl. Sponsor us. Hit us with that sponsorship. I watched this movie with my boyfriend the other night, and I texted she should literally 5 minutes in, and I was like, I'm only 5 minutes in, I'm already pissed off.
Like, if that movie doesn't radicalize you, I just don't know.
I think that's the thing that as a people we need to just start being more radical. Like, we just need to just do it. Like, there's nothing that says we can't stop these things from coming into our community if we stand up as a community.
Yeah.
There will be no more crackheads if we take the crack away. Don't take the...
But back then nobody knew better.
Exactly.
They thought, like, you know, like, people had taken coke and, you know, leisurely. And I'm not promoting coke, but, you know, we're able to sometimes be functional cokeheads.
Right.
But crack was a whole different ball game.
It was created completely different than cocaine.
Yeah.
It was pure. It was pure cocaine.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that makes it even more crazy is that cocaine is the pure, like the what's the word I'm looking for? The affluent, the luxurious version of crack. But crack is it in its purest form. And yet again, this is another time where black people have like the strongest thing.
Oh yeah.
That white people can't even handle.
Yeah, and during that time, like, you know, it was a rise in black dealers in that time, but it was not saying that the ways that they went about it literally went from being a fun game to a dangerous game. And it's like they went from, you know, not being able to make ends meet to being able to provide for their family members, and then all in all, it turned into competitiveness, and guns were dropped off in the neighborhoods. You know, police were being paid off. Of course, police is like, you know, I want you to take over these neighborhoods. So then they introduced the mindset of, I can't have fun anymore, or the heart in the black man. And really, like, it just destroyed it. And yeah, it was a doctor that made it. We're back to the crack baby thing.
Yes, back to the crack baby.
It was just women, and it just, I'm sorry, I just don't know which way to go. And I'm trying not to get too emotional because it's sad. Because it was, they tried to paint the whole generation of kids that were born in the 80s and the 90s to parents that, you know, were drug users, or just in the black community, period, as crack babies, as being non-functional, basically, lack of a better word, retarded babies. Yeah. Like,
born addicted,
not being able to function,
exactly,
illiterate. But yeah, it's just, it was terrible. And this one lady, she was confiding in her psychiatrist about what she was going through. She was going through divorce. She didn't know what she was going to do. She had tried crack. I mentioned it, and her psychiatrist snitched on her and had her kids taken away. Mm-hmm. And, you know, through not being considered a health issue, but considered a criminal issue, she was jailed multiple times. And she was just like, I just wish that somebody would have sat there and thought that she doesn't have a criminal problem. She has a drug problem. And, you know, still being alive today and seeing how the world and the government looked at the opioid epidemic as a healthcare issue and not a drug issue. She was like, I wish somebody would have did that for the people that were addicted to crack.
That's probably because a lot of these people who were crack addicts are now in these positions of power where they have gotten themselves clean, they're no longer using, and they see how detrimental their treatment was, and they don't want people to be treated like that again.
Yeah, because all essentially is really a healthcare issue is you can't, if you're back and forth in jail, all you're doing in jail is detoxing. Right? Even if you have the choice of detoxing, because at that point, prison guards, COs, whatever you want to call them, were smuggling in crack.
I was just about to say, you probably are still using it.
Yeah.
Prison,
so you're not able to, like, if you're detoxing, but you're not healing. You're coming out and you want it. You're not healing. You're not even taking the process, the steps to heal. Because there weren't programs for people back then. It's just...
And there's also the whole idea of institutionalization, where in jail you get 3 square meals a day. You might be locked behind bars. You might be, you can't do this, you can't do that. You can't see your family. You can't, but you're being taken care of in jail.
Yeah.
And these people, they get out and they go and do drugs because that's what they want to do, and they go back to jail and they're just used to it.
Yeah.
It just is what they want to do.
And learning about stocks, really learn that some of these jail institutions, people can buy stocks in it. So it's just like, why wouldn't these judges try to fund or try to funnel these people into the jail system if people are making money out of it?
Uncle Joe just signed an executive order ending private-owned prisons.
That's great.
And like I need to look.
But Joe, you're not in the clear because you was in the crack documentary too.
He sure was with his thin and her.
And Hillary Clinton too, calling black people super predators. Yeah, it was.
Maxine Waters was that too, but she wasn't talking about black people.
Maxine Waters always been down for the people.
Maxine Waters, I was like, is that Auntie Max?
That was Auntie Max.
I was like, she is always
been down for the people. But like literally, and it just made me think about how much political parties and political people, it's a fucking game. They're actors. They're going after what is popular, which is going to keep them in office, what's going to keep them in power. Yeah. At that point, they're like, oh no, super predators, we need to implement the 3-strike rule. We need to jail these people. A lot of these people were caught with possession, were not violent offenders. The guy was a guy that was, and a spoiler alert too, because I'm just feeling oddity about the crack guy.
I mean, you just have to just watch it.
Just watch it,
because even in everything that she's saying, there's still so much.
Yeah, and just a succession of presidents after Reagan tried to one up Reagan. I want to be tougher. So George H.W. Bush came around and he's like, we got to get rid of this shit, and literally set up a black guy. One of the officers was a black guy. Called this guy up, was like, hey, bring me some crack to the White House. The guy didn't even know where the White House was.
Didn't even know. That fucking scene gagged me so much. I was like, this man don't even know where the White House is.
Don't even know where the White House is.
You live in the same city as the White House.
But that's not even the point. The point is, you didn't know where the White House was. You had to be instructed how to do it. He went there, he sold crack to the guy. He had no priors. No priors, and was institutionalized. He got 10 years. And that was a low sentence for people back in that day.
Yeah. For crack possessions?
Yeah, for crack possessions. And literally, 15 minutes later, George H.W. Bush does a press conference and pulls out the same crack and was like, oh, they're dealing crack outside the White House. This man didn't know where the fucking White House was.
This man had no idea he was selling crack in front of the White House.
Yes.
Like, he was so... He was like, I watched the president pull this crack out that I had just sold on live TV. Mm-hmm. Live TV. This man just pulled out a giant packet of crack.
Yeah.
And probably went on to smoking afterwards.
And then what makes it so bad? You think of a sugar packet, right? 5 sugar packets. You think of sugar packet is like an ounce of sugar, right?
Yeah, if that.
No, not a gram of sugar. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
5 of those. I believe you get 5 years per packet.
I think so. Yeah.
Up to 5 years per packet. But they made it equivalent. 5 grams of crack was equivalent to having 500 grams of cocaine.
Yeah. Just think about the implication of that. Everybody was doing cocaine. Mm-hmm. Everybody. And nobody was being jailed for cocaine.
Barely.
There was a white man on the television screen drinking a beer and talking about, yeah, I did coke.
He's like, yeah, I was a crackhead. And during the time of the mass incarceration of the 90s, all the people who were charged with possession, whatever the problem process, it was exclusively black people that were jailed during that time, exclusively. And the jail population exploded. It went from like, I don't even have the numbers in front of me statistically, but it was almost a 600% gain of bodies being in the prison system. And so you got to think about it. What effects did that really have on the black community? You have families being separated, children being taken away from their mothers. You have a loss of trust in the healthcare system, a loss of trust with psychiatry, of a loss of a further loss of respect for law enforcement, because y'all were in on it.
The whole time. And that was the major thing that was covered in the documentary too, was this this lack of not having caffeine really makes my brain just a puddle. Like, it is just a puddle of soup swimming around in my head right now. The lack of trust that we have in the police force, because they were all in on this crazy scheme of keeping crack in neighborhoods. And I kind of want to cycle back to the effects of crack on black men versus the effects of crack on black women, where at the end of the day, crack dehumanized black people.
Yeah.
It took black women, like you said, and made them martyrs. It made them these horrible people who couldn't take care of their kids, who all their babies were born addicted to drugs, who the drug was more important than their children. And it made black men so hard and emotionless. The one guy, I can't remember his name, was talking about how, you didn't even want to laugh at a joke if somebody said something that was funny because you didn't want to seem soft or weak.
Yeah.
Like, what? The joy was removed from black people. Yeah. From the men, from the women, from the children. And one thing I wish we could have kept from that, one thing that was a positive in this horrible, horrible epidemic, was the idea of enterprising and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a horrible thing, dealing drugs to people that live in your own neighborhood, dealing drugs to your own family at times. But the fact that black people took that and immediately were like, this is a business.
Yeah.
I can make money off of this.
Yeah.
I wish we could still, without the government intervening, without law enforcement, all this stuff knocking us back down, kept that entrepreneurship, that spirit of building ourselves up. But again, like we kind of said at the beginning of this whole thing, the government, white people want to keep us down. They don't want us to feel like we can do any better than we already doing.
Yeah.
No matter how good or bad we're doing.
And it really, like, it in that point of time, like, people were tired. They were like, oh, we need to expel this out of our neighborhood. And they turned to the government, but then quickly realized the mistake that they made. by turning to the government because they started making it a game of pinning crack on people. Like he said, if you got pulled over and your friend had 10 rocks in his pocket and you had none, they're taking 5 and putting it on you.
Yeah.
And it just the planning, and it just turned into a game of, okay, we know who the game players are, but let's destroy this neighborhood further. Let's pin this on people who are innocent. Let's just completely dehumanize the black community, and it just further implemented the distrust that we have as a people with just the government as a whole.
Yeah. And all of this ties so deeply into what is going on right now with the pandemic, with the panoramic, with the Panera Bread, with the Padme Amidala. And black people have, and we've covered this in many episodes, have always been the use for experimentation since slavery. You got black women being tested on and cut and all kinds of horrible things happening to them.
With no anesthesia.
With no anesthesia. You got the Tuskegee experiments. You got the crack epidemic. You got all these horrible things that have happened. And people wonder why black people don't trust the government and the vaccine. Like
y'all set the precedents. Like y'all set the tone. Y'all set the tone of the relationship, and then you act baffled. You act baffled when people stand and be like, "No, I don't trust it."
Yeah, this is a trigger. This is a very triggering thing. The vaccine is a very triggering thing for black people, and the craziest thing about it is black people don't understand why. A lot of us don't realize that it is because of all these things that have happened to our ancestors, to our family, to our aunties, uncles, grandparents.
Because it really wasn't something that was, like I said, wasn't taught. And it's something that just be like, oh, no, we're not getting that. And you'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's something bad without further explanation. And it just carries on, and it's just...
And it's more that crowd mentality that has been placed upon us since slavery. If one person doesn't want to do it, nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
There's the fear, fear factor that, well, I don't know what that thing is about. I don't know what they're doing with that, but I'm not.
Yeah. And it's that, and then it's just, knowing the experiments that happened, and like I said, not really discussing it with, the generations that came after that, being like, well, this is why we don't, I'm not teaching you how to swim, but because X, Y, and Z, this is why we don't go out and get vaccines. And I just had a moment where I thought about, this is why the whole what happens in my house stays in my house mentality came from. Like, oh, I saw such and such with a crack rock. Like, you gonna get taken away.
Yeah.
You gonna get taken away. Like, it opened my eyes to so many things that's prevalent in the black community. Like a lot of our mindset, and it's not because black people just want to be difficult. It's because of the fucking horrors that have befallen upon us.
Years and years of generational trauma. Generational trauma.
So when you tell black people to get over it, what part do you want us to get over? There's
so
many instances.
I saw a TikTok the other day that said slavery ended 256 years ago, and no, not 256 years ago. Slavery was 250. I gotta find it now, because it had all the times and dates correctly, and basically it was like slavery was more of American history than what did it? It basically was saying that slavery makes up more of America's history than the actual existence of America. Like, America has been around. Slavery was around longer, almost as long as America has been around. Basically, it was the long and short of it. And it really put into perspective for me that we ain't never been shit. Not black people. America ain't never been shit.
And on top of that, back to the crack documentary, Ronald Reagan's slogan was "Make America Great Again."
Yep, he said that, and I was like, "Oh my God, trigger!
I was triggered.
Oh my God, trigger!"
I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, Like, what the fuck? And fuck Bill Clinton too, even though the economy was great, motherfuckers was making money, but fuck you for implementing the 3-strike law.
Okay, slavery is 256 years.
Okay.
There have only been 156 years of not slavery.
What?
I don't want to play it, but I want to play it like I'm watching it right now. Do it again so I can know the 246 years. Yes, slavery was most of American history.
That's
like,
crazy.
I just don't.
That's crazy.
I don't. You can't tell us to get over something that took up more of our history than anything else.
That's crazy. That's mad crazy. That's mad crazy, bro. That's just ridiculous.
So at the end of the day, white people, no, we're not going to get over it. No, it wasn't long enough ago for us to not still be affected by it. And yes, oh shit. Sorry. Yes, I am still mad about it.
Very much so.
And no, you don't get a White History Month because look at the other 11 months of the year. Look at the fact that Black History Month was founded to celebrate a white person. Like, not necessarily to celebrate him, but during the week of this man's birthday. Like, as an homage. Like, we can't have nothing. We can't have shit. Jesus.
I'm just... The fact that Black people don't want revenge and only want equity.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all can't even fucking give us that.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can't even give us that. You better be fucking glad Black people don't want revenge.
Mm-hmm.
You better be glad. All we want is to be treated like the guys that we are.
Shit, maybe we do want revenge. Maybe we need to start wanting revenge. Maybe,
It's just...
Look, maybe we need to get a little vengeful.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
Who's that? You turned on me. Why'd you turn fake on me, Rima? Why'd you turn fake on me, white people?
Like, for real. Like, seriously. That's all I got for right now.
Yeah, those are just a few, and that wasn't even a few. We dropped a lot of facts in this episode.
We dropped a lot of facts.
That's just
It's
the
horrible.
tip of the iceberg.
This is horrible history facts that I unearthed. And it's just... Stop. So first of all, stop treating kids like they're idiots, like they know no better.
Mm-hmm.
Kids understand more than you give them credit for.
Yep.
And stop the whole mentality that I know kids, they need to, enjoy their childhood, but they also need to learn why things are the way they are. A full understanding, not just some brief explanation, because, knowing these things growing up would have helped tremendously understand why I was being followed in stores as a kid with my friends, why I experienced some of the things I experienced. I grew up in the church, and oftentimes, and I understand why now, because what went on in the 90s, why my family was like, oh no, you can't go over such and such house, or oh, we're going to make sure we keep you out of that. But it's just like knowing a bit of that, or understanding why, would have been very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Growing up.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Truly very helpful. It would have just been nice to know anything about the past and about
the
how
truth.
you grew up.
The truth, not this whole buttered up, watered down bullshit that they feed us in school.
Yep. We need to fight for equity in education.
Yeah. Equity is period across the board.
Yeah, but like getting our history as a part of American history and not as an extra subset of history.
Yeah, even Latino history.
And the full history, not
the full history.
bullshit that they teach.
And really, like, just learning how fucked up across the board marginalized people have been, have experienced from white people. It's just like the Japanese concentration camps. They don't talk about that. And it's just like every time something happens in a foreign country and America like goes to fight for it, it's just like, how dare y'all, knowing the history? How dare you? When to this day, the race relations in America is so fucked up. To this day, how dare you try to go police fucking Syria? How dare you go and try to police what's happening over in Sudan? How dare you try to put your fingers in it?
Was that you that told me that meme that was like, damn, if America saw America, what was it? God damn it, mush brain. If America saw America the way it did other countries, maybe they would step in and help themselves or something
exactly,
like that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, America, I got a little secret for you. We're struggling. We're a first world, third world country.
America
We're like a
ain't
second
shit.
world country.
America ain't shit.
Ain't shit, it ain't gonna never be shit if you don't change.
And it's just like the things put in place to keep people down. Not even just black people, poor people. Fuck Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
They're a prime example of a modern day example of, you know, people coming together and trying to fight a system or trying to benefit from a system, and because it hurt billionaires, and nothing they did was illegal, because it hurt billionaires' pockets, they're punished.
Yep.
Oh, I do got some black business to shout out. It's not St. Louis based, but it's one of my homegirls. Shout out to Kahlo, aka Natalie, because her real name, I was like devastated when I found out that Natalie was her real name. I was so excited. I was like, her mama named her Kahlo. Oh my god, that's so dope. But anyway, her business is Trace the Beat. She is a licensed esthetician and makeup artist based in Marietta, which is right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So please hit her up. Follow her on her social media. It is Trace the Beat. You can't spell, go back to school. Follow her on Instagram. And if you're in the Atlanta area, hit her up. If you need your hair done, if you have a wedding, if you're doing a photo shoot, hit her up. She is a Haitian lady, African American, Haitian descent.
Hey.
Get that shit.
Yeah, we'll post her on social media so you guys can see her contact information.
And like I said, we want to spread the word, help spread the word about your small black businesses. So hit us up on Twitter. We are Urban Proper Pod. That's POD.
And on Facebook and Instagram, we are at Urban Proper Podcast. Send us a DM, comment on our posts. We want to support you guys.
Yeah, and you know, like we said, the Black History Month, but going forward, we're going to drop Black History gems. So if you have any Black History gems that you know of, any just stories, hit us up on social media. Drop some knowledge on us. I love to learn.
I also love to learn.
I'm a forever student. But until next time, y'all.
Bye. This is the last episode of season 4.
This is the last episode of season 4. We're going to take a slight break for season 5, but we will be back.
Yes, in like 2 weeks or so, we'll be back. We're not going to take a pandemic break this time.
We're not going to take a pandemic unless, you know, some crazy happens. But
right.
No.
So we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.